and welcome to State of Business. This is Madhusha Palakumar. Let's take a look at tonight's headlines first. President Sirisena meets with Malaysian Prime Minister in New York. International conference on RTI begins in Colombo.
The theme of this year on RTI Day, we declared the theme as a RTI for Enhancing the Public Service Excellence.
Now the stories in detail. President Maithripala Sirisena met with Malaysian Prime Minister Dr. Mahathir Mohamad at the Hotel Plaza in New York yesterday. During the meeting, Dr. Mahathir praised Sri Lanka's steady progress and assured continued cooperation. President Sirisena congratulated Dr. Mahathir on his significant victory at the last general election and briefed him regarding the progress made in the last 3.5 years. He asked Malaysia to increase investments in Sri Lanka, to which the Malaysian Premier agreed. Dr. Mohamad said that Malaysia would increase assistance to megapolis programs for construction of high-rise apartments for settling urban slum dwellers. Minister of Megapolis Champika Ranawaka, who accompanied the President, requested that Malaysian credit facilities extended to the construction sector be increased. Ministers Tilak Marapana, Rajitha Senaratne, Champika Ranawaka and Mano Ganeshan also took part in this meeting. Dr. Mahathir Mohamad accepted the invitation extended to him by President Maithripala Sirisena to visit Sri Lanka. Meanwhile, the United States President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump hosted a reception for all visiting heads of state to the 73rd session of the United Nations General Assembly yesterday at the New York Palace Hotel. President Maithripala Sirisena and First Lady Jayanthi Sirisena were given a warm welcome by the US President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump when they arrived at the New York Palace Hotel. The two-day international conference on right to information began in Colombo this morning to commemorate the International Right to Information Day, which falls on 28th of September.
The theme of this year on RTI Day, we declared the theme as a RTI for Enhancing the Public Service Excellence. We all know that it is very important to enhance the public service excellence in anywhere in the world to enhance the development, socio-economic development of the world. The Sri Lanka, our public sector is the supply side of our Right to Information Act. The Right to Information in Sri Lanka, we agreed and we all are starting to implement to given this right to information to the civil societies and the civil activists and as well as the general public of this country. The public sector, especially as the information officers in public authorities, our public officials, they are really interested in to give all the informations and also they are working to proactively disclose all the information for the general public. The RTI Commission, we proudly say that RTI Commission is very active and they are really implementing their activities in given the right to information of this country. We already introduced so many activities to enhance both the supply side as well as the demand side. We all know that during last few weeks we talk about the demand side and the supply side. When we are considering the demand side, we consider the general public of this country are the demand side of RTI activities. Still, the ministry and all the activists, we are not happy the involvement of general public of this country for using their right to information. But if they are really using the right to information to enhance the development of this country, that may be a very big achievement for this country.
Weaving together the personal experiences and stories of combatants actively engaged on either side of Sri Lanka's ethnic conflict, Sri Lankan researcher and author Sara Kabir launched a book titled Voices of Peace at the Lakshman Kadargamar Institute last evening. Voices of Peace is a tool that aims to strengthen and support peace and the reconciliation processes in Sri Lanka. It shares the stories of 10 former LTTE cadres and 10 Sri Lankan military personnel who actively fought on the front lines. This book provides a platform for the stories of these unheard voices of Sri Lanka's protracted conflict and a safe space to restore their agency by empowering them in the ongoing peace process.
It shares the stories of 10 former LTT cadres and 10 Sri Lankan military. It provides a platform for the affected but mostly unheard voices of the conflict, a space that we try to give them ownership of the peace process, a space that we listen to them rather than talk about them. And we also try to show a balanced narrative of both sides And remember, these stories are not just about war, guns, and killing. It goes beyond the battlefield. They share stories with us about family, about love, about marriages, divorces, music, and sports. And they take us through their childhoods, why they joined the armed struggle, their attempts to integrate into society after decades of life in jungles or at sea. They tell us what their lives are like now, what their perceptions of peace and reconciliation are, and what their hopes are for their future. How we can use storytelling, this powerful tool that helps us to listen to those we're trying to help in order to influence policy and to strengthen and support peace and reconciliation in Sri Lanka.
Addressing the gathering during the event, Executive Director of the Centre for Policy Alternatives, Dr. Pakir Saudi Saravanamuthu made the following remarks.
We cannot be told that we are equal citizens until and unless everyone knows what happened to us. We need, therefore, an acknowledgement of that truth. And that is something that, of course, is happening at a very low level. It is not happening at the level of the state, of the government. I go back to the commissions of inquiry that we've had, etc. We had the Lessons Learned and Reconciliation Commission. When did the Lessons Learned and Reconciliation Commission ever hit the front page of a newspaper in this country? Not when mothers went and talked about their pain and suffering. No. It was when people, either elected official positions, went and gave testimony. People who would get media attention anyway. And that brings me to the next point. And that is the point from reading the stories and testimonies. That is the point about what I would call the democratic deficit or the representational deficit that we have.
Let's take a look at more news after this short break. Welcome back. Addressing the 30th CEO Network Forum organized by Art Television, Chairman of Jetwing Hotels Hiran Kurai noted that Sri Lanka is unable to attract high-end tourists due to lack of proper plans to position Sri Lanka as a global tourist destination. Mentioning the current issues in the tourism industry, he noted that it is not the politicians who are at fault, rather the general public who voted in support of them.
How can tourism impact the economy? Tourism can play a huge role in the development of this nation. But I think sometimes we are to be blamed. When I reflect most of the time, I think the people are to be blamed. Who elects the politicians? We elect them. And then after we elect them, before election, they worship us. After elections, we worship them. But we forget that it is we who elect these guys into parliament. So there is no point in blaming them. We have to blame ourselves. Suddenly the war ended in 2009 May. Bless those who helped to end the war. If that war continued, we wouldn't be in tourism today. Forget it. It came to such an extent that we were struggling to pay the staff at the end of the month. By then. So the situation changed. By 2010 February, we were telling our staff at Jetwing Travels and Jetwing Hotels, and I was also checking with John Keyes and Atkins Spence at that time, we could handle that business that was coming in. We just told them, don't accept any more bookings. We didn't have transport, we didn't have guides, we didn't have hotel rooms, nothing. So then the Minister of Economic Development and Tourism, and the secretary was Dr. P.B. Jayasundar's thinking was, no point in promoting, get the infrastructure going. And we couldn't argue against that. So suddenly the destination got a big boost. People came in. We started improving our product, the service, everything. But we were still catering to the Maruti customers. We want the BMWs and the Porsches and the Volvos of Arthurs to come here, the customers of that. But finally, who came in? We are still catering to the $20 to $40 base. That was our base. That didn't change because why? The destination was not promoted. We didn't have a proper plan to position the destination. And that's how it happened till 2015. Then in 2015, they started a process of destination branding promotion. And that process is still on. Now we are almost end of 2018. That process is still on. Nothing has happened.
Speaking further, Hirankurai stated that tourism has the potential to contribute at least 10% of Sri Lanka's GDP. He also noted that minimum room rates of hotels must go up.
We are just a small tourism player at the moment. We have potential to grow. We are only, I believe, we are in our second birth, right? After 2009, tourism, we are just getting enough confidence. But again, we Sri Lankans don't have confidence. This impacting the economy will not happen if we don't have confidence in ourselves. My view is this minimum rate must go up. This is a Hilton hotel in Colombo, Hilton Residencies. Why must Hilton Residencies sell below $125 a night? Look at the brand name Hilton. Jetwing is not known. Jetwing is known in Sri Lanka. Little bit out, just a tiny little bit outside. A Hilton, Marriott, right? Intercontinental is not here. But these are brands, these are global brands. Marriott, if you go and see, you can ask Nahil, the Marriott rewards, right? There are over 60 million customers in their rewards base. That's their communication strength. So why must they sell for $100? He'll never make money selling for $100. He'll never make money. Marriott must be sold for $200, $300. Shangri-La must be sold for $300. When Shangri-La sells for $300, we can sell for $150. It's happening the other way around.
Let's see how the stocks performed after this short break. Welcome back. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a negative note today. The ASPI index dropped 18.21 points to close at 5,869.31, and the S&P SL 20 index dropped 10.27 points to close at 3,009.31. The turnover was 419.8 million rupees and 13.5 million shares were traded. Next is Forex rates. With that, we are wrapping up State of Business for the day. We'll meet you tomorrow with more news at the same time. Until then, take care. Good night.